Hi guys, welcome to Classic TV Facts and Trivia. Appreciate you being here. Today's video is by request, and it's one of my favorite TV shows. Some things you may or may not know about the television show, the Cheers spinoff, FRASIER. Let's take a look. Okay, let's start with FRASIER's theme song. Came from the instruction to avoid specific references to psychiatry. Ever wonder what the deal was with the lyrics to the theme song recorded by Kelsey Grammer? Listener, the Hollywood and Levine podcast hosted by former FRASIER writer Kevin Levine, not to be confused with the creator of BioShock games, wondered the same thing, and Levine reached out to the tune composer Bruce Miller, who explained its origins. I was told they wanted something pretty electric and jazzy, but to avoid any direct references to specific subject matter. So it was necessary to stay away from words about psychiatry, radio shows, the name FRASIER, and anything else directly indicating aspects of the show. Immediately wrote the song music itself, but then needed a lyric that would work. So I called my friend Daryl Fanese, who is really talented and really smart. I gave him the idea of the show, and he called back with the idea of tossed salads and scrambled eggs. First, I was a bit baffled myself until he explained that these were things that were mixed up, like Frasier Crane's patience. Once we agreed on the premise, by the time I fully understood it, we went into completing the song. An anti-gay law in Denver convinced the creators to set the show in Seattle instead. To avoid associating FRASIER with Cheers' Boston setting, creators David Angle, Peter Casey, and David Lee wanted to set the series in a whole different part of the country, originally set in Denver, Colorado. However, as Lee explained to Vanity Fair's oral history, the state had passed this anti-gay amendment. He adds that they couldn't be in good conscience base the show there and decided that Seattle, Washington was better reflected the progressive ideas they were looking for, yada, yada, yada. John Mahoney was only 15 years older than Kelsey Grammer. British-born actor John Mahoney, who passed away in 2018, was best known for his Emmy-nominated role as Martin Crane on FRASIER. What few fans had realized is that he and his on-screen son, Kelsey Grammer, were only 15 years apart. The difference is actually not so different from their characters' implied ages, as Martin turned 65 in season 5, and FRASIER is labeled as a 41-year-old in the first season, meaning he would have been born when Martin was 19 or 20. However, that does not explain how a man of an astonishing resemblance to Martin could have made a prior appearance on Cheers. FRASIER, starring John Mahoney and Perry Gilpin, previously played different characters on Cheers. Despite its sharp wit, FRASIER is actually notorious for a few narratives, inconsistencies from the series it spun off of. Particularly FRASIER's claim up that Cheers, that his late father was a research scientist, despite showing up as a living retired cop on his show. FRASIER holding a grudge against his dad was the explanation provided in the episode featuring Ted Danson as Sam Malone. Does not clear up how John Mahoney is seen as an entirely different character on Cheers in his final year. In fact, Perry made an appearance in the same season prior to her casting as Roz, which is an intriguing story of its own too. Lisa Kudrow was originally cast as Roz in FRASIER. Up against Perry Gilpin for the role of Frasier Crane's radio producer Roz Doyle was Lisa Kudrow, who actually did get the part until the writers began to question if the otherwise brilliant comedy actress was the right fit for the character during early rehearsals. The offer was transferred back to Gilpin, who recalled to Vanity Fair how Kudrow called to congratulate her friend soon after losing the FRASIER role to her. Yet I would say we can all agree that it worked out for the best, as it's hard to imagine anyone playing Phoebe Buffay on Friends. FRASIER was originally an only child, the discovery of David Hyde Pierce. Speaking of perfect casting, not only was David Hyde Pierce the first and only choice to play FRASIER's brother and fellow psychologist, Niles Crane, the character never even existed before he was cast. In fact, FRASIER was depicted as an only child on Cheers, and the spinoff character creators intended to keep it that way. But it all changed in one moment, as David Lee explained in Vanity Fair. And one day, casting assistant Sheila Guthrie stopped by and said Have you guys thought of having a brother? This guy looks a lot like Kelsey did when he was younger. She handed us an 8x10 of David Hyde Pierce and some VHS tapes from a canceled NBC series, The Powers That Be. We'd just done Wings and didn't want to do another brother show, but we looked at the footage and just fell in love with him. Frasier's writers didn't consider casting Maris Crane before deciding to keep her unseen. Niles Crane's first wife, Maris, had a decidedly important role on Frasier, despite existing almost purely through conversation. At least to the audience perspective, the character's off-screen presence was not always meant to last. It was set up as, per David Lee's description to Yahoo, a fast one on the audience, convincing them that she would remain unseen like Norm's wife Vera in Cheers, till she made the surprise reveal. Ultimately, that reveal never materialized because, as Lee added, 2 or 3 episodes in, she was already so bizarre, she was uncastable. Daphne was given an overeating disorder on Frasier to hide Jane Leeves' pregnancy. Of course, Frasier fans can be thankful to have Niles Crane find happiness with his brother's maid, Daphne Moon, played by English actress Jane Leeves, who actually became pregnant during the show's 8th season. This will explain her overeating disorder that resulted in a subsequent weight gain at the time. Here's a fun fact. Daphne would eventually visit a weight loss spa and claim to lose 9 pounds 12 ounces, which is how much her baby Isabella weighed at birth. Celebrities requested to make voice cameos at Frasier's Calling Guests. A fun game you can play while watching Frasier is to guess the celebrities' voices that are calling into Frasier's show. They have included Jay Leno, Christopher Reeve, even rock star Eddie Van Halen, to name a few. Securing these A-list video cameos became a much easier feat over time, as casting director Jeff Greenberg revealed to Chicago Tribune in '95, claiming that the likes of Sharon Stone and Halle Berry, among others, would reach out to him for a voice spot as the series became more successful. Kelsey Grammer memorized lines just moments before shooting Frasier. The multiple awards that Kelsey Grammer won as the title character of Frasier, among other roles, must be proof that his requisite disrespect for the craft of acting is a success, despite it being insanity to David Hyde Pierce and others. According to a profile for US Weekly, the method requires Grammer to rehearse only once and have his lines just barely memorized before shooting, giving him a slight wide-eyed kind of energy in the moment by raising the stakes of his ability to recall the dialogue. As he claims. It may sound a bit overbearing to the average performer, but apparently it worked. And I know that's a long one, but that's all I got for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe. Please don't forget about classic rock and country music facts and trivia. Head on over there and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day. God bless you. Be praying for you.